folks. Today we're going to talk about a box, an antique box. We're going to go through the contents of this box. It's very old, or certainly some of the contents are very old. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But I thought I'd just look at this bowl of lemons. Isn't that nice? There's something about a bowl of lemons, just how it looks. It brightens up a room. And lemons are great. You can make any cocktail better with a lemon. And it's almost like garlic to me. You can always add a lemon and make something better. Anyway, we'll leave that there. Before we get started though, I want to pick a candle. So let's see what we have here. I'm going to leave this lemon jar a little bit visible. So this is a little box from Trader Joe's of some candles. So I've got 3 here. I've got cranberry pine, fresh currant, and nutmeg. I think I'll do that. Well, let's see how they smell. This one is the cranberry pine. Strong smelling. Might do that one. This one is the fresh currant. I thought this was going to be the one I was going to light, but I'm not so sure now. Let's see if we can get this last one out of here. There we go. This one is the nutmeg. Yeah, I think we'll go with that first one. We'll go with the pine today. Put these other ones out of the way. So let's light this up. Love that sound when they first light. Okay, well, let's take a look at this box. So, it turns out I don't know a lot about this box. It's from my grandmother's family on my mom's side. And I know this L is her family name, but we've never been able to figure out exactly who E.B. is. It's one of those things that's kind of a mystery. And the other thing I don't know about this box is the actual timeline. And I'm going to show one of the items inside that we can date to a degree, But that doesn't necessarily mean all these contents, of course, are going to be that same date, or even when the box was made would be that same date. I think this box is at least 150 years old, but certainly 100 and change. But I don't really know for sure. I haven't really found, a marking or something that would really prove that out. But kind of given circumstantial evidence, that's kind of what it seems like. It's pretty sure that it's at least turn of the century, maybe older, something like that. You can see I don't, I'm not an expert on these different types of wood, so if somebody out there is and can tell me something about it, I mean, it kind of looks like a darker wood, like a walnut or something, but I really don't know. So I'm open to an expert that might be able to tell what kind of wood this is. You can see these are inlays, handmade inlays. Pretty cool. Well, let's open it up real quick. I'm gonna sort of go in opposite order a little bit of some of these things, but I talked about how I can somewhat date an item in this, and that's this old photograph. So again, I don't know for sure who this is, and I'm not sure how this will even come out, but this is a Daguerreotype, and I looked that pronunciation up a lot, and I think I got it right, but if you're an expert in that and you know I'm pronouncing that wrong, give me a comment and let me know. But this technology, they stopped using it around 1860, so we know this picture is at least that old. And my guess is that it's around that time, a little bit before, but it could be significantly before. It could be 1830s for all we know, but it's certainly pre-Civil War. And again, I don't know for sure who these people are, whether this is the EBL on the box or this is someone else. But this man certainly looks like a lot of my relatives. So that's my guess, that this man is the family member, or the family name family member in this photo. And you can see it's very difficult to see, and that's one reason they stopped using this daguerreotype technology. It was a silver plate with mercury. And of course, it also caused a lot of photographers to become ill with mercury poisoning, that technology that they were using back then. It was a dangerous career, dangerous hobby, from mercury poisoning. But so that dates this photo as 1860 or before, and I'm guessing somewhat before. I'm going to sort of say something like 1850. It'd be somewhere around there. Could be older than that. Again, I just don't know for sure. And we've had several family members, plus some actual museum curators and historians do a family tree on my grandmother's family, going back pretty far. And we still can't exactly identify who this EBL is, but it's interesting. And we know around this time and how they got to California, they probably, at this time, they probably would have been in Illinois. And we do know that my grandmother's family came here around 1860 on overland in wagons. So that was after the roads were, I want to say, pretty good. I mean, it was after the gold rush, and by that time, traffic from the Midwest to California and Oregon was pretty general. So you didn't need necessarily as much. It was safer and a more well-traveled road by that time. In fact, there was a railroad, but we know they came by covered wagon overland. So I pretty much left the contents of this box exactly how I got it. So I really don't have any idea if the timeline of this box is in any way related to the timeline of this photo, as I noted before, and also the items inside, how their dates relate to that timeline is also not 100% clear. I'm going to set this little item aside for a second. It's an interesting little item, but it has some personal info on it. I'll try to talk about it a little bit more in a moment. But like this little booklet is certainly not an 1860 booklet. I don't know if I found a date for this, but it's talking about a spray for your V-belts, which would put it obviously in automobiles. And I'm thinking something like 1950s era is when this book is from. And again, I don't have, and it's not really a book, it's a little notepad. As you can see, just some paper inside. And I don't believe I ever did find a date on this. Chesterton Counterpoise Seal. I have no idea what that means. Printed in USA. So it's some kind of a spray you put on V-belts, or sometimes we'd call these fan belts. So my guess is this is something like the 50s. Is when this little notebook was put out, probably as a marketing, probably a free handout. And there's some stamps in this box as well. And these are 10-cent stamps. So a stamp expert would know the time period for a 10-cent stamp. Although, who knows why they were 10-cent stamps. I mean, it doesn't necessarily indicate exactly that 10 cents was the price of a letter at that time. These could be quite a bit older than that, and maybe 10 cents was a lot more than one letter. I don't know. And this little box is some tie clips and a few other things. There's a coin. Oh, it's actually French. It's 5 francs, and the date is 1950 on that. Again, I have no idea why that coin's here. I doubt it's worth anything much. Don't think it's particularly special, but could be for all I know. I've never looked. But it's 1955 francs, if I'm reading that right. Not sure if you can see that. That was in there. And some other things in this box. A couple of tie clips. Another little disc. I don't know what that is. And an old key to something. So there's a tie clip. I don't know anything about it. This is another tie clip. It's got a little chain on it. It's kind of cool. Silver. The silver chain. Couple paper clips. I suspect these are some kind of tokens. I'm not really sure. This one has SF as punched out in it, if you can see. I can put it against this box. Maybe that'll be easier to see. it out. The SF. Municipal Railway. That's what it says on it. So I'm assuming this is some kind of a train token. It says 1 fare. San Francisco. So maybe you could ride a cable car with this back in the day. Again, I don't think there's a date on it. An expert on these types of things might be able to tell us. If you recognize this Municipal Railway token, know the era of that, drop me a comment. And if you're interested in it, maybe one day we can do some research on that together. Today I was just going to do a quick run through of the items in this box for the most part. This one is, again, it looks like some kind of a token. Yeah, it says tax token. I never heard of a tax token before. It says Tax Commission, State of Washington tax token. I have no idea how that works or what a tax token is. On this backside it says, I believe it says 10 cents or less tax on purchase. Again, I'm not an expert on this. I don't know how this works or what these would be used for. State of Washington tax token. Interesting little trinket, and I have no idea why it's in this box. If any of these items relate or they're just random. This is a little key. Looks like jewelry box type of thing or something, perhaps. Not sure what kind of key. Oh, could even be an old desk or something like that, for all I know. I don't think it has any writing on it. Or if it does, it's not really legible anymore. Maybe that says, yeah, I just don't know what that says. Not sure if that's writing or that's just some scratches. Kind of looks like it might be some writing, but it's hard to tell. Interesting. So that's some of those little trinkets in that box. A box inside the box. And this is some more stamps. The same type of stamps. More. Oh no, this one's different. This one's, whoops, that was a 3-cent stamp, and there are some more in here just like that. Some United States postage, 3 cents. And again, I don't know if that means this is from the time when postage for a first-class mail was 3 cents, or they just happened to be 3-cent stamps. I don't see a date anywhere on this little stamp book, so I don't know for sure when they came out. They have Thomas Jefferson. Again, I doubt these have financial value. They're just, for some reason, a trinket that got left in this little box. I can't tell you why. And I will talk about this because it's interesting, even though I'm not going to share all the details of it. But it's interesting for a couple of reasons. One is it's a driving license, as far as I can tell. Department of Motor Vehicles license, California, 1953. And it's interesting because of this scan technology. Like, what technology is this? It's just a piece of paper, but it's obviously a reproduction of some sort. At least that's what I think. I can't see how this could possibly be the original. But it's interesting that it's kind of a dark brown, as the almost like a negative, except it's not in negative reverse image. So it's interesting. It's my grandfather's, and again, it's from 19. It's interesting that it was issued in 1941, and it's good until 1953. So driver's licenses were valid for much longer back in the day. That's interesting. Just an interesting little piece of paper. I mean, it's got to be some kind of a facsimile, but in other words, a copy of some sort. But I don't know the kind of copy technology that they would have used then as to why that comes out in that dark color with like a reverse image sort of thing, except it's not mirror image, but it is kind of reverse image, where the light parts are dark and the dark parts are light. It's kind of interesting. And again, if you're an expert in that, the duplication process of that period, I mean, that would be something you could comment about. Here's a couple of other little trinkets. This is a photo. I do not know, again, who this is. I'm sort of assuming it's a family member, but I really don't know. This is, again, some kind of a token or something. I don't know what that other half of it is. This is actually a button. It's got a pin. I can't really see. This picture is actually a button, like you could pin it to your shirt. The other thing, I just don't know what that is, or again why it's in here, because I don't recognize that person from any of the family photos that I have, so I don't know who that is. That brings us to a couple of other items. Okay, so here's some kind of a marketing item from E.D. Blakely and Son, Modesto, California. Quaker coat. So I know of Quaker oil. I think that they still exist. I believe you can still buy Quaker oil, I think. But I have no idea what Quaker coat is. I assume it was some brand of some, either oil or something. And this is obviously some kind of an old marketing, giveaway pin. I should say giveaway flashlight. It's a little pin light. I don't think works. Might work if I put a new battery in it. I don't know. But it's a little flashlight. It says USA, so maybe that's made in USA. I'm not sure. I mean, I sort of assume so with that USA flag on it, or indication. So some kind of a little marketing giveaway. Again, timeline-wise, I really have no idea, but I would wager that's looks like something like the 60s or 70s to me. But again, that's just a long shot guess. I don't know. What else have we got in here? Oakland, California. Some kind of a little trinket box, or almost like a little jewelry box. Oh, I think it's a little sewing kit. Okay, interesting. So this is a little tiny sewing kit. That's pretty cool. Probably, maybe this wasn't a marketing giveaway. This might be something someone bought. But it says Oakland, California. Odd that the Oakland, California is sort of upside down by my reckoning. You open it this way, but Oakland, California reads that way. Kind of interesting. I don't know why. I don't know why it's like that. Looks like maybe a tourist item somebody picked up somewhere. And again, I have no idea why it's in this box. So, what I'll say about that, not knowing all the reasons things are in this box and not, what I'll say is talk to your family members who might know before they pass on to tell you about these things. And I'll also say to that I did a lot of that. I shouldn't say a lot of that. I did some of that, tried to get stories from family members back in the day, and myself, and as I noted before, some other people that have done amateur history research often find these stories, the family stories, are often kind of passed down with funky variations that aren't really true anymore, or they maybe are embellished, or somebody's version of it, and it gets passed on. And when you find the real story, sometimes it doesn't match what what it was always the lore of the family. But still, it's great to, if you can find somebody that knows these kinds of things. I mean, I wish now I knew who EBL was, and I wish I knew more about things like who's in this photo, who's in this photo, and why all these trinkets are in this box together. I mean, some of it I think are just random. It was a place to put some things, and so they ended up in this box, but I don't know. So that takes us to the last thing, which is an interesting little thing in itself. And I don't think this is any kind of a family heirloom. This is just an item that is sitting here. And it's an old postcard from Victoria, BC. So I kind of assume somebody went on a vacation to Victoria, BC and picked up this little booklet of postcards. And as far as I can tell, none of the postcards have been removed. 12 postcards, hand-colored, of Butchart's Gardens. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It says produced in real photogravure. Again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and I don't know what that even means. But I think it has something to do with, it's like a touched up photo or a colorized photo that these are made to. And published by Gowan Sutton Company Limited, Vancouver, BC, printed in England. I don't want to damage this, but I can show you these photos, or these postcards. This at the bottom says Mr. R.P. Butchart's Residence and Gardens, Victoria, BC. Beautiful gardens. On the back it says published by the Gowan Sutton Company Limited, Vancouver, BC, printed in England. This one says in Butchart's Gardens, Victoria, BC. It's a little pond, it looks like. I think they all say the same thing on the back. In Butchart's Gardens, Victoria, BC. I think it's another view of the same pond. Thick cardstock. This one also says in Butchart's Gardens, Victoria, BC. This one looks like some kind of a lake or pond. It's bigger than a man-made cement pond, as they used to say on Beverly Hillbillies. This is a larger, more natural-looking pond or lake. Some rock formations around it. I don't know how realistic, this colorization is, but you can see that it's got color in it. This one also says in Butchart's Gardens, Victoria, BC. probably something you could look up on Google and see if that place still exists. Maybe let me know in the comments. Oh, that's two. Almost skipped one. This also says in Butchart's Gardens, Victoria, BC. These have not been handled very much, so I'm trying to be careful. It seems pretty fragile. Again, I don't know for sure how these colors match to the reality of this place, but it's kind of cool. Again, it also says in Butchart's Gardens, Victoria, BC. Looks like there's a nice garden path, walk around you could do there. It almost looks like a valley, but I think that's also water. I'm not sure. Also says in Butchart's Gardens. A few more. Oh, looks like a young man fishing. Interesting. The colorization seems unusual over here with this kind of pink and yellow. Don't know how realistic that is. Maybe it really looks like that. The little guy fishing is kind of creepy, I have to say. Not sure what's going on there. Is this a giant frog? I think it is. It looks like it. I don't know if that's as big as it looks or if there's some perspective going on. It looks like a pretty big frog. Looks like lily pads. I think this one goes this way. Again, it says in Butchart's Gardens, Victoria, BC. I don't remember ever seeing pink lily pads, so again I wonder about that colorization. This one also goes in this portrait format. Oops, sorry. That's pretty. Looks like another little walking path in the gardens. That's pretty cool. Now I want to check this place out. Wonder if it is still there. Butchart's Gardens, Victoria, BC. Little archway of flowers. It's kind of cool. I think that's our last one in the book. Yeah. So that's the contents of this little box. If you have any insights into this or any of the items in the box, shoot me a comment. Hopefully you enjoyed that little path or walkway into the trinkets in this little box. Sort of a walk into the past. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.